Good day, Ajay Mahara here. In this video, I'd like to maybe clarify something that could be unclear for some people about borderline personality disorder and can you love a person with borderline personality disorder? Okay, well, here's the thing. There's an interesting comment posted today on my video. I think it's called When a Person with Borderline Personality Disorder Tells You Who They Are, It's Time to Go. And there was a comment today, a man, I think it was a man, but a person sharing, yes, a man, I think it was a man sharing that he met a woman with borderline personality disorder who told him right away that she had BPD and that she thought, that it would be best if he went away and didn't invest in getting to know her because it wouldn't work out, and that she had said she had some kind of quote monster and quote in her, but he didn't listen to her, and they went on and they fell in love, and there was love back and forth as this person reports, and for other reasons later, after I don't know how long, right, the relationship got torn apart. Well, we don't know if that had anything to do with it, but it doesn't sound like from the comment that it had anything to do with borderline personality disorder. So here's what I wanted to clarify first of all. That on that video entitled when a person with borderline personality disorder tells you who they are, it's time to go, I wasn't meaning that literally like when they tell you. When you first meet them and they say, I have BPD, and sometimes they're warning people off, okay? And they're saying, well, I can't do this, or I have this quote monster and quote inside me, etc. And so I didn't mean by the video title or in the video to say that when they literally tell you with words that they have BPD, okay? Just to be clear about that, I think it's important. What I meant was when their actions and the way that you're feeling and the way that you're losing yourself and when they're really hurting you and when they're splitting you and when they're devaluing you and when it's, a little bit of idealizing, devaluing, mostly devaluing after a while, that's what I meant by when they tell you who they are. It's time to go. Not when they literally use words to describe something. I mean, in some cases when a person tells you they have BPD, depending on what they're showing you as well, right? That might be the time to go. That's what I was talking about. But clearly, as this commenter reports, and I believe them, they had a really great relationship with somebody with BPD who grew and changed. Must have been in therapy. They didn't mention that part. But people with BPD can grow, can change, do have empathy, by the way. And if they're not seemingly so empathic when they're untreated, etc., or triggered, or angry, or raging, or giving you the silent treatment, they still have the capacity for empathy. Okay, so that's important to remember and to keep that awareness. It's really important to keep that awareness out there because people with BPD are not like narcissists, and they're not like psychopaths. So when I said that in that video, again, I wasn't saying literally what they actually tell you in words. It's time to go if you meet somebody with BPD. Or, you have a relative with BPD and, or maybe you didn't know what was going on there. But my point is it's what they're doing, how they're acting, how you're feeling, if they're growing, if they're in therapy, if they're getting help, if they're changing, if they're getting awareness or not, right? Because so many people out there, and the clients I work with, are people that have been ghosted by them, left by them, cut out by them, treated atrociously by them, who actually loved them but didn't get that back. They weren't seen for who they were. They were just projected onto with a lot of untreated or people with BPD that aren't seeking help or for whatever myriad of reasons, and there are many, highly individual as well, some common, why some people with BPD, some certain percentage, aren't really awakening to much or at this point in their life. So when talking about this again, I'm glad that commenter shared their experience because I'm not here to say what a lot of people say about people with BPD. I'm here to help loved ones, but I know that people with BPD watch the channel too, and I got to get doing more videos specifically for people with BPD because people with BPD are not all the same. But what my message is to loved ones, and they're capable of empathy. Now, obviously, they're not always showing that, but they are capable. They do feel. They have an overabundance of feeling, not a lack of feeling like a narcissist, or like not zero feeling like a psychopath, okay? So what's really important here is about when they tell you who they are. I don't mean literally using words, because words might really warn you, yes, but words, and look for actions too. And how are they treating you? How are they actually being? And are they getting any help or not? So, as I've always said, this is not a new message, right? Just trying to clarify that. And based on that comment, I thought this was a great way to kind of respond to the comment on that video where someone shared having a relationship with somebody with BPD who first told them that she had BPD and that she had this quote monster inside unquote, or monster quote unquote inside, which again is the stigmatizing of people. Yet for every person with BPD like this person that this man fell in love with and that he loved and cared about and that he had a relationship with and that she learned and grew and changed and was able to give love back and that they had a great relationship for however long that was. Well, that can happen too. But why is my message not stressing that a lot? Because more often than not, at least with the people that are online, with people that become my clients. So what percentage of people is that in general? I don't really know. But a lot of people, so maybe a higher percentage of people with BPD are not in that growth, getting treatment, aware place. Lots are. More and more increasingly are. Does it mean they're ready for a relationship yet though? Well, some are and some aren't. So the thing is, and many aren't getting treatment, or maybe many still don't know what the issue is. So when I was referencing before, when a borderline tells you who they are, it's time to go, I meant behaviorally. The way they treat you, how impossible situations become with some. In fact, many with BPD, but not all. I mean, I recovered from BPD in 1995. And that's a full recovery. And I know people still believe in psychiatry and arcane kind of narratives that, BPD is this horrible. No, I'm not here to say that at all. But there's a certain percentage of people with BPD, whether they're just young still and or they just found out, or they don't know yet. Whatever's happened for them in their lives, they are not in a place to have a relationship. So when I'm saying if a borderline tells you who they are, I mean with their behavior, with the fact that you start to hurt, the fact that nothing works. That's what I mean by if they tell you. Not if they say, hey, I have BPD. Because maybe some people who say that, like the commenter to my video, when someone has borderline personality disorder, tells you who they are, time to go. There are, of course, differences in this. There are people who've had a lot of therapy with BPD, whether they're fully recovered or not. They learn how to give, to love, and they find enough of themselves, that lost self, and they find enough sense of identity, and they learn how to emotionally regulate. So the point is, there's lots of people with BPD that can be in relationships, and they can have reasonable chances, because not everything that goes wrong in most relationships with people with BPD is all the person with BPD's fault anyway. So I'm not saying it's 50-50 either. So this video is just sort of, a reminder for every person that because all people with BPD are not the same, and I know there's so many people online just stigmatizing this like crazy, and I really don't mean to be one when I'm speaking to loved ones or exes, or when I work with clients who are devastated. I work with a lot of clients, no matter the relationship type, with significant others, but also family members. They're just devastated, and they've been so hurt, and they're so distraught, and they really have been negatively affected to losing themselves, or to degrees of losing themselves, to what they've been through with a person with borderline personality. So what's really the key thing here, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again, I think it bears repeating. Each person out there, if you have a person with BPD in your life, whether that's your adult child, or it's your mother or father, or it's a sibling, or it's a friend, or you're the favorite person, God, I have so many clients right now who are the favorite person. It really is not a good place to be. Or you're the girlfriend, boyfriend, or you were, or no, you are still the girlfriend, boyfriend, or husband and wife of somebody with BPD. Then what's really important for you with this message of when they tell you who they are, it might be like, you got to make a tough choice. Well, I don't mean in words, to stress again. What I mean is each person with BPD is so different. Many have commonalities of behavior and triggers and emotional dysregulation and fear of abandonment and really not healthy, like insecure or avoidant, or perhaps not even having an attachment style other than, sort of like trauma bonding. Point is, or not sort of like, but trauma bonding. The point is, so what I mean by when a person with BPD tells you who they are, it might be time to go, is that each person with a person with BPD in their life, each one of you has to individually become aware, be more aware of what's actually happening with you, with this person with BPD in your life. Is it tenable? Is it untenable? Are you in a world of hurt? Is it on again, off again? Are they having all the push-pull kind of control struggle issues? Are they triggered often? Does it feel impossible? Does it like work and it's great and then, like weekly or every few days or twice a month, it kind of all goes to hell? Well, you need to radically accept who that person is in your life right now with BPD. What do I mean by that? I don't mean you need to radically accept it all and put up with really poor behavior and poor treatment. No. What I mean is you need to, for yourself, with the person that you know with BPD, you need to really radically accept if there's somebody who's not getting treatment, if they're substance addicted right now, if they're alcoholic as well, if they have eating disorders, if they have a whole lot of moving pieces too that are going to be the things that need taken care of before they can even get therapy for BPD, but they don't want any help, but you're getting hurt and everything is really highly chaotic, conflictual, and dramatic, to say the least, then that's a person who, at least for right now, isn't somebody that it's healthy for you to stay with. And then people get really stuck on, especially if they get left or cut out or ghosted, well, what if they get better later? Well, see, all you can do is live your life right now, one day at a time, not necessarily always one moment at a time, but be present to the now. So all you can really base your decisions on is heart-wrenching and as painful, as gut-wrenching as they are. Some people out there, maybe with somebody with BPD who's really working hard in therapy, and that relationship can develop. And other people working hard in therapy and really taking it in and changing, right? And other people are with people with BPD that really are just untreated, not aware, like I said, may have substance or alcohol abuse issues or other issues along with that. And they don't know what their triggers are, and they're not aware, and they're not getting help, and they're not going to get help. They're going to project everything onto you, and you're going to become that punching bag. You're going to become that object of the bad parent representation. So each person in each period of time in your life, like if you just met somebody with BPD and you've been dating for a while, how's it going? How's the behavior? How are you feeling? That's what you have to base decisions and choices on, whether it's time to go, break up, or what have you, or whether this relationship really has healthy potential, if not right at this minute, but like soon. Because the thing is, it's each person with BPD that has to make these decisions based on your experience, based on what's happening in the dynamic of relating and communicating that you're in with a person in any relationship type with borderline personality disorder. And the good news is, lots of people are going to recover, lots of people are going to get much better, and people are. But maybe the person you're with right now isn't doing any of that. And maybe that's for right now they're not, and it might be for like, a year, 2, 5, 10 years from now until they will. Or maybe they won't, and you can't know that. And I think what we're seeing online, what I see represented in clients I work with who've been with people with BPD and really hurt, family members, any relationship type, is likely we're probably talking 10 to 15% of all people diagnosed with BPD that are behaving the way they are, trying to relate in ways that aren't healthy, the best they can, but they still haven't worked out tons. So each person has to make their own decision. And when I said, if a person with BPD tells you who they are, it's time to go, I didn't mean literally in words. I meant you've got to look at what you're feeling. And then there's the other side of this too, which I'm going to be talking more about. But people who get cut out by the person with BPD, and how devastating that is and how difficult that is. But I can tell you one thing about that. It's not going to help your pain if you're in grievous pain right now or heartache. But when they leave like that, it means they're not ready. It means they're not mature enough. It means they don't have enough emotional intelligence. It means they haven't had enough therapy. It means it wasn't going to work. And people have a really hard time accepting that. So wherever you are with this today, whether you have BPD or you're somebody who's trying to be in a relationship or relate to a borderline in your life, to a family member, etc., you have to look at what is actually happening in your circumstance, in your communication, in your dyad, in your relationship, and you need to go from there and make the choices that are healthiest for you. Because there is no everybody with BPD is this way or everybody with BPD is that way. Lots of people are growing and changing, lots of evidence out there, but I'm not here to defend any poor behavior, any harmful behavior toward people. So that's what I mean by when somebody with BPD tells you who they are, by their actions, by the way they are with you, consistently hurtful and splitting and dramatic and chaotic and push-pull and all of that, not simply if they say the words, okay? So I hope that's helpful. Hope that gives you some food for thought. And for people that are left by people with BPD, it's astoundingly painful and difficult. I work with so many clients in that circumstance, and I just want to say one thing that I hope will help you, even just a quarter of an inch worth today for a moment. When they discard you, or they don't really discard, but when they ghost you, it wasn't meant to be. And can I say one last thing here, which I'm going to be talking a lot more about too? There is no such thing as a soulmate, only one. There is no such thing as twin flame. This is all not rational. And love isn't rational, but this is all out there, okay, in my humble opinion. I know other people have different opinions. But there's nothing that was so meant to be that you have to stay where you're getting hurt and wounded and more, and somebody else isn't taking personal responsibility. Because you have to always be taking personal responsibility to look out for yourself. Anyway, hope that helped. Hope that was food for thought. And I hope that clarified something. And I'm glad that the commenter shared that comment on my other video, because we don't get those comments very often. Always happy to hear when people with BPD are changing, have grown, been able to give back love, because I know they're out there. And I know I'm one who recovered in 1995, and I know I'm capable of all of that. And I live my life that way. And I have relationships. I've had relationships over the years, and lots of people on my channel know right now I'm still grieving the loss of my partner who took her life in December. But I have friends, and I don't need a favorite person, and I don't need anybody to take care of me. And so vast change is possible. But what I don't want people to do is end up trapping themselves with somebody who's just in that 10 to 15% of really more severely affected with BPD, and who's not getting treatment, hasn't had treatment, isn't interested in treatment, may well be, really involved in risky sex, in substance abuse, in all kinds of the most harmful to themselves ways of trying to escape this pain that they just can't, or right now can't, or choose not to focus on and heal. So take care of yourself, and that's the message, really, seriously. Take care of yourself every single moment of every day. So it's not a one-size-fits-all thing I'm saying here. And really glad to hear a positive story, though sorry to hear at the end of the comment that something else tore them apart. But it does sound like, and that happens in life, and people realize they're incompatible, etc. But by the nature of the comment, doesn't seem like it had anything to do with that person who had BPD and grew and changed and was able to love and give back. So mutuality is what we're looking for. and a person's ability to have empathy. And they have empathy, but if they're not able to demonstrate that consistently and hear you and see you and share with you and be mutual and reciprocal, then that's not a healthy place you need to be. So that's not trying to vilify or say all people with BPD are this or that or the other. Because frankly, there's too much of that online. And it's a too black and white a narrative. Take care now.